As you know, if you've ever played before, two compulsory bets are made at the start of each hand. They're called the big blind and the small blind. The big blind is double the small blind, and it's the players on the left of the dealer button who post the blinds. Then the players are dealt their whole cards, two face-down private cards that only they see. Starting with the person to the left of the big blind, each player must make a betting decision based on their two cards. They must bet an amount that is at least equal to the big blind. This is known as calling the bet, or they can raise the bet. When a raise is made, the remaining players must at least match that raise, fold their hand, or re-raise. If no one raises above the level of the big blind, then the player who's posted the big blind has a further choice, which is to check, or as you may hear in tournaments, say, no raise. If you're going to raise, either because you like the strength of your hand or because you sense an opportunity to steal the pot, how much is a good raise? Well, it depends on a number of factors, including how many chips you have, your position at the table, how many players are still in the hand, the playing style of your opponents, and perhaps most importantly, the effect you want your raise to have on the other players. You might be raising to gain information about the strength or confidence your opponents have in their hand, or to find out where you are in relation to the other hands at the table. If so, a smallish raise of say 2 times the big blind can help. If you get re-raised, that is when someone raises your raise, then it is likely that you're beaten and you should fold. If everyone else calls or folds, then you know that you're in reasonable shape, unless you're being trapped, but that's another story. You might also want to raise to get rid of those players who are hit and hopers or limpers. They're looking to hit a hand on the flop, or perhaps they have a drawing hand and are hoping to make a straight or a flush. A reasonable sized bet here will probably cause them to fold because it's now too expensive to enter the pot. It's generally thought that a raise of around 3 times the big blind is the most effective raise before the flop.
It's important to vary your raises. The last thing you want to be is predictable. Alter your raises to between 2 and 4 times the big blind so the other players can't work out what you're doing or get a read on you. If you really want to frighten everyone out the pot, you can go to 5 times the big blind, which will at least be exciting if you get a caller. The more you play and the more sophisticated your play gets, the more you'll develop your own feel for what level of raise is right for the way you like to play certain hands. When it comes to playing these premium hands, why would you raise before the flop? Well, the last thing you want to do is have too many people in the hand. The more there are, the more likely it is that someone will hit a lucky hand on the flop. As in this example, where you just called with the pocket aces and the player who limped in behind you with Queen 9 suited flops 2 pair and you've lost the pot. Whoops. A stronger bet with this premium hand would have seen most of the players fold, and while the pot is smaller, at least you would have won, rather than lost chips.
Do you understand pot odds? That is, are you across the relationship between the size of the pot and the size of the bet you're being asked to make to stay in the hand? In this example, the pot is at 200 and you're being asked to make a bet of 40 to stay in. So the pot odds are 200 divided by 40, which is 5 to 1. If the bet you needed to make was 100, then the pot odds are 2 to 1. And the higher the pot odds, the more value you're getting from the bet. So do think about pot odds when considering whether to play a hand and check you're getting value for money. Don't underbet the pot, especially if it's later in the hand and the only way you think you can now take the pot is by stealing it. If you make it too cheap, you're going to get called. And even if your opponent thinks you've got the best hand, if you make it cheap enough by underbetting the pot, then they'll call, even if it's only to get some information on you. Finally, don't be one-dimensional when it comes to betting and do mix up your play to keep opponents guessing.